everybody, Zero here, back with another video, my first ever video actually discussing something in a race. Finally, I advertised it on my channel and I haven't really done anything yet with it, so might as well now. I wanted to come on here to talk about the Catherine Legge incident that happened at Rockingham between Catherine Legge, Lawrence Walrich. Let's get down to it and talk about what happened and why there's been such an uproar about it. The race was going fine, minus for a spin involving the 45 of Vincent Silas, the NASCAR driver making his Xfinity Series debut on lap 13. But we're not going to talk about that. We're here to talk about what happened with 9 to go in the first stage. So, coming off turn 1, 53 Catherine Lund, who had to give money to be in the race due to the fact that she did manage to get the car in on speed, but thanks to the provisional systems, her car was knocked out of making the race alongside the Mike Harmon Racing 74. She got behind the wheel of the 53 blessing JJ Yaley, which, for the people complaining about that, this still has happened to this day. This literally happened last year with Keith McGee buying his way into the 28 for Talladega truck race, literally last year in the fall. So, I don't get why it's an issue here. But that's besides the point. One. So looking back at the incident here, she comes down from the swarm. 48 of Nick Sanchez is able to avoid her coming off turn 1. However, she comes down. She suddenly comes down. Part of the 18 is Smallish, who, thanks to the previous race at Bristol, is known for driving under people's cars and just essentially sniffing up the ass of them. It's a pretty weird way to describe it, but just bear with me here. So he did the same thing he did to Connors Illustrated at Bristol and just drove into the back of the 53, which sent her spinning, caused her to crash into Casey Kane, and then caused the caution, ending her race, damaging Casey Kane and Swamp's car. Now, this has been the incident that has brought the internet into an outrage and calling her, talentless, just talentless and all that. Like, it's embarrassing, really, because recently on the podcast Throttle Therapy, she came out and talked about the harassment she was receiving, all the death threats, the hate mail, the sexual comments, and just sexual harassment in general she received because of this incident. And it's not even this. She had a pretty abysmal debut, not debut, but start to her season in NASCAR in 2025 with uh, her debut with Lift Fast Racing at Phoenix, where she spun out twice. The second time, she collected Daniel Flores, who was having a pretty good run, and something to just salvage what he could have to start the season. And it's honestly so just upsetting to see that Catherine is getting all this treatment over these incidents. It's like, first of all, it's an experience because, well, of course, she doesn't have experience at a track like Rockingham. I'm not going to ignore that. It's like she doesn't have really experience to any track she's going. In fact, let me pull out the schedule that she will be running. So the schedule she will be running for Xfinity consists of Rockingham, which just happened, Talladega, which is this week, Texas, following that, is Charlotte, Nashville, Atlanta, Indianapolis. Notice how only one of those tracks is a track that she's driven. I don't know if she's raced at Nashville and IndyCar, but she's definitely gonna probably, maybe do good at any. But all these other tracks, she's never been to these tracks, and including Rockingham. And before anybody comes in and says, "Oh, but a lot of the Xfinity field didn't have experience with Rockingham," bullshit, bullshit. Don't give me that excuse. They had a literal test session for Rockingham back in January. I don't want to hear any inexperienced excuse for the rest of the field, really, unless you're talking about certain drivers that were called to run those races. But that's just not the point. What I'm saying is that she doesn't have experience for a lot of these tracks. You look at her Cup schedule: Mexico City, Sonoma, Watkins Glen, and Chicago. All of those tracks she could do well on. Those are road courses, and she has Richmond, a more easier oval to race on. The Cup. Why they're throwing her into a bunch of tracks she's never been to, she's never raced at before in Xfinity is just questionable. Maybe it's just sponsorship. Maybe it's not. I'm something else. I don't know. What I do know is that she's proven she could be competitive in other series. Not so far in NASCAR, but if we just let her show what she can do, then she's going to do good. And she's not going to be like the stereotype people make out to her. See, this is why Danica Patrick is an awful driver. Or just bear with me here. Danica was an absolutely awful driver in NASCAR. And When Catherine Legge struggles in NASCAR, people are quick to compare her to Dan. That's because that's what NASCAR fans are so used to. They're used to a driver like Danica Patrick being awful and not being competitive at all. But when you actually bother to do research and look into Legge's resume, then you will see that she is an accomplished racer. She has a bunch of achievements. Again, 4 wins in IMSA, so don't ignore that. She has actual talent and has proven she is capable of being competitive. And it's like people, I'm starting to see people compare her to Mike Wallace, and that's like, you're comparing somebody with 4 wins in IMSA, one of the top prestigious endurance series in the world, to a guy who has not competed in a NASCAR sanctioned event since 2020, who is also a racist and just utterly brain dead, sexist piece of shit. And it's like, you, I can't even describe like how stupid it all is, but let's just move on to the threats and just the backlash she's received. So, talking about the backlash she's received since Rockingham, it is, if I were to describe it, it's just completely sickening, disgusting, and unacceptable. For those who don't know, she's been receiving death threats, sexual harassment towards her, and also just hate mail and all that. It's disgusting. And this isn't the first time it's happened this year. In the 2025 ARCA season opener from February, the Ride the Density 200, Amber Balkan, who drives a 70 for National Motorsports, was involved in 2 separate incidents with Cletus McFarland, the latter of which took herself and Cletus out of the race, including several other drivers. And she received harassment and threats from Cletus's fans. Cletus himself had to come out, make a statement about it, saying, "Hey, don't do that." Essentially, so this isn't the first time it's happened. Drivers have received death threats and hate mail sent towards their way, and this is just another example of it. And it's just unacceptable and disgusting. No matter if it's a man, a woman, a minority, it does not matter. It is just disgusting and unacceptable that no one should do that. Like, it should be common knowledge that you don't send threats, you don't send hate mail to somebody, you don't do all that and expect to get away with it. You don't do that. It's not fucking right. But some people weren't just raised that way, and people are stupid that way. So it's unfortunate, but this is the world we live in. I also wanted to briefly touch upon something I found from underneath the tweet of Joseph Srig. Apologies if I butchered that last name, but he made a Twitter post talking about Catherine Lang's newest episode on the Throttle Therapy podcast. And underneath the comments, I scrolled for a bit. I see one of the top comments comes from Cody Dennison. For those who don't know who Cody Dennison is, he is a current ARCA driver and just a complete douchebag. So Cody is a piece of shit. He is a sexist and homophobic piece of shit. And he's coming in here saying, and I quote, "I'll never understand the death threats of thing in social media towards drivers." That's a full thing coming from the guy who was essentially posting tweets about wanting to have gay people and LGBTQ people killed for celebrating crime and just attending drive parades, and said women, just flat out said women can't drive. Like, how ARCA and NASCAR have not either revoked his license or have punished him severely, beyond me. How he still has a ride with fast track racing in Indy Hillenburg. I just don't get it. Like, it's honestly pathetic. It's just, but that's gonna be it for the video. I know this was really looking, it's just really rushed and put together, but then again, this is my first video in months, and this is my first video in this style, so apologies if all of this is coming out like rushed and all the audio is bad. I don't have a good microphone to really work with, and this was my first time, like again, my first time venturing into making a video like this ever. Like, I haven't made a video in a format like this really ever. So yeah, but that's gonna be it for today. Hopefully I will have a video out in a couple of weeks, maybe. I don't know. I do not have a consistent upload schedule, but yeah. Bye.